Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming to our session today on how to quickly add chat and chat features to your Android application. My name is Jason Koo. I am Sendbird's developer advocate. And just in case you haven't heard of Sendbird before, I'll just quickly kind of go through what we offer here. So we have three primary products that we offer. Let me get my face out of there. We have three primary products. We've got Sendbird Chat, which we'll be talking in depth about today. We've got Sendbird Calls, which is adding voice and video services, and then Sendbird Desk. Sendbird Desk is basically a full feature add-on on top of chat for providing customer service, a full customer service experience if you're including chat inside your website or mobile experience. Okay, all three of these platforms are built on top of the same high-performant, low latency system spread across 8 data centers across the globe. We are also compliant with the major standards such as SOC 2, ISO, HIPAA, and of course GDPR. Many of the largest apps in the world use us to power their digital experiences. In the digital healthcare space, we offer teleservices for companies like Headspace. For marketplaces, we power Rakuten and Carousel. We also help connect drivers and consumers for on-demand services like at Delivery Hero. And we also, if you've heard of Reddit, we power the chat rooms that allow for real-time communications between hundreds of millions? Lots of Reddit users and other communities or sports channels like Dream11, MPL, and Yahoo Sports. We power their live chat feeds. Okay. And our numbers are honestly very amazing. We send about all close to 2 billion messages a month. We have 110 million users that use our platform inside our client applications. We have more than 100 engineers in-house that constantly are creating, maintaining, and enhancing our applications. And on top of them, we have 70,000 or more than 70,000 of our client developers building applications on top of our APIs. And then also throw in that we've got more than $120 million of funding in the last 4 years. It's easy to look at us as an engineering team that kind of adds to your own, and we'll be around for a long time to come, and we'll totally back you up. Okay, so that's Sendbird in a nutshell. Today, I'm going to go over real quickly the requirements that you would need for including chat into your app. Then I will demonstrate how you do that using our UIKit. Hopefully that will be very, very quick, in which case that'll leave me a lot of time to go and then talk to you about adding in voice and video services, and then what a demo app that would include all three of them would look like. Okay, so let's get in here. Okay, so the requirements. You'll, of course, need some sort of IDE to develop on. I will be demonstrating with Android Studio. And then you'll need an active Sendbird account to be able to, obviously connect to and set up your users with. Okay, so for signing up, it's very simple. First name, last name, email, set up your password, or you could do a single sign-on with Google. Once you're in, this is pretty much what the dashboard looks like. The first thing we'll do is we'll create an application so that you can actually have an API key to try out. So that Create App button is located in the lower right of the dashboard. And since today we're going to do both chat and calls, hopefully, we'll select the right one. If you are only working on a chat application, then you can just click the left one and not worry about providing video and call services. And then, name your app, of course. And then the last option would be to select one of the 8 data centers that are closest to you for, obviously the fastest experience. And then the next thing you'll want to do is you want to add some users to test with. You want to create a caller and a callee. Adding in users, there's a quick dialog box that will show up, and you have some couple options here. ID is the only thing that you really need, and then nickname is also kind of good to have, but ID can be just any string. So you don't have to put in, some computer-only readable thing. You can put in a human-readable ID for now. And when you're all done, it'll look something like this. So here I've added in some users, myself and some of my coworkers here. Okay, so we're really good on time, so I'll actually just show you real quickly what the dashboard looks like, so that you can get a feel for what that is in real. Okay, so here in the dashboard, again, this is just like the screenshot I showed you. So here we'll just create a secondary app here. We'll just call this Demo 2. And I am on the west coast of the US, so Oregon is probably the closest to me. So confirm that. Just give this a few moments to build your app. And once it's done, it'll appear just like these other apps in the bottom. Cool. And here, this is pretty much what we need to add to our app later. So we'll come back to this. So first thing you want to do is you want to add users. The create users button is here in the upper right. And again, I could just do in. And then we'll add my coworker, Danica. So 2 users minimum to get up and running. And that's it. Well, while we're here, you could take a look at settings. Here, you can add in additional chat features if you wanted to play around with some of our advanced stuff. We won't go over these today, but they're here in the settings section. Okay, so that's it for the dashboard. Okay, moving back to here. Okay, so the sample app I'm going to use is basically just Android Studio's initial blank activity sample app. I've gone ahead and put that into a repo that includes both that initial starting app and then also the app after we're done adding in some code, and then finally a third folder for showing video, voice, and calls. So the repo for that, I'll post up into the chat room later, but you can put it here in this lower right-hand corner if you can read that and want to add that in and start kind of following along. Okay, so for adding in chat into your application using Sendbird, we've got 2 SDK options that can help you get going right away. We've got the chat SDK, which is the full-featured kind of backend API system that's got everything in the kitchen sink, but it doesn't have the UI that would kind of get you up and running for a full feature visual experience. This is where UIKit comes in. UIKit includes kind of the base UI elements that you would need. Sorry, somebody was asking a question. Okay, yeah, so the UIKit contains all the UI elements for creating the UI experience, and we'll see this in a few moments. Okay, starting points, we've got starter apps you could download. So if you don't want to, put in the code that we're going to do in today, you could just download a starter app, spin it up, and be good to go. Today, of course, we will show adding in the SDKs to an existing application. And the steps. Okay, so before I dive in and kind of go through the whirlwind of code, well, it's not going to be that much code, so this will be easy. But the initial steps that you kind of want to keep in mind. So first, you want to create the app and select which SDK you will use with Sendbird. We've done that already. So once we get into code, we're going to add dependencies, same as implementing any other SDK. And then we'll initialize it, of course. Then we will trigger a connection to Sendbird. Once that connection is successful, you can then trigger UIKit. Once UIKit is triggered, that's it. UIKit can handle the rest of the UI experience from there. You don't have to add in any additional activities. You don't have to add in any sort of functions or additional graphic icons. It's all included inside UIKit. Okay, dependencies real quick, we'll demonstrate this once we get to the code, but we'll be adding dependencies to both the project build Gradle file and the module build Gradle file. And this is an example of the initialization code. Again, we'll dive into this in a little detail in a little bit, but basically the init call will take a Sendbird UIKit adapter. The adapter contains the user ID, nickname, and the profile image of the user that is on the device. And then this is an example of the connection code, which uses the information from the init to connect to Sendbird services, and then would return you the user if there's a match. Otherwise, it will return you an error. And if it's successful, you can, of course, trigger an activity, which in this case will be, this code needs some updating. We'll be triggering the default UIKit channel list activity. Okay, so in the end, this is hopefully what we'll get once I'm done, is a view that lets us select or create channels. And then from there, we'll be able to select from the number of users and choose who we want to talk to, one-to-many or one-to-one, and then the full chat experience. Okay, so let's dive into code and let's see how far we get before the demo gods decide to punish me for some reason. Okay, so here's the app that we're starting with, and let me just turn this guy back on. Let's clear this out, and so this app that's it. This is just a blank activity view. It's really got nothing into it. Okay, so we're gonna add to this. And we'll do it in code here. All right. And we're looking at the right code. Yep. Okay. All right. So first thing is, of course, getting all the dependencies set up here. So right here under JCenter, we're going to add in to, is it Maven? Here, I'm going to copy and paste it to kind of speed us along here because my memory is kind of extra awful. Oh, jetpack.io. Okay. So this one should be easy to remember, but I don't. Okay, so here's in the project Grado file, we'll add in this link to Maven. And then here is where we actually add in the dependencies. One thing we'll add in addition to the library is data binding, which a UIKit needs. And that's it. Okay, that should be all we need. Let me sync this now. This should only take a couple of seconds, hopefully. And I guess while that's running, I'll jump into the main activity. Okay, so again, we're going to want to init the library and then just call UIKit. So for initting, what we'll do is I'll post a copy of that same code that I showed you earlier. And of course, I will want to import everything. Oop. This part, I kind of wish there was a setting for just automatically doing this. And there probably is, and I just haven't bothered to look. Okay, so here we're going to add in our app ID here, and then I'm just going to hard code the user for now. Of course, in an actual app, you're going to want to tie your actual login system to return to you the actual ID and person's display name and put that into here. So the app ID, here I'm going to go back to the dashboard, my dashboard for let's see, actually I should show you guys so you can see. So here in the dashboard. So here, I won't use demo 2 since I just created that. I will use my awesome app. I'm going to copy this application ID from here. And then I'm going to paste it to here. And then I will just run it into that same emulator. And if everything builds wonderfully, we will have this app, well, this activity will get replaced with the initial channel list activity. So here, oh no, it won't be because we only initialized and I forgot to actually put in the call to spin up the channel list activity. Okay, so after we initialize the library, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our connection to Sendbird. We'll get our user back, hopefully. Hopefully we'll pass this error. And we're just gonna start activity from this default channel list activity that's included inside UIKit. And then this again. Oh, come on. If it fails, we will definitely know. Okay, so now if I run the app, we will initialize the library and I copy and pasted probably too much stuff. Sendbird connect user. Oh, I'm definitely missing something here. Oh, one extra, that's it, okay. Okay, so now we're initting the library, and we'll make the connection, and then this one line activity will kick off that default channel list activity, which will be blank. Actually, we're choosing an older app that I have, so there should be at least one previous conversation in there. Let me try to bring it up. Yep. Okay. So here you can see here I've got an earlier conversation, and if I wanted to, I could create a new conversation, say with Jessica or with both Jessica and Tanaka, and then I could say hello, hello. And the default chat application, as you can see here, you can add in text. You can also send images, photos, files. You can react. Oh, I guess I need to post something to react. Okay, so what I will do here is, so you can actually see this working, is let me bring up all my emulators. I guess I don't need all my emulators. I'll bring up the other emulator. And so So this one, oh, this one I forgot to compile too. Okay, so what I can do is I can fix that real quick by going to code, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to build to that device here. Okay, so this is obviously one of the problems of hard coding is when you want to switch users and you don't have a login screen, then you're stuck with this. Let's see, let me grab Tanaka's image and set this way on so we don't get confused. Okay. All right, so I'm going to build to this other emulator. Show you the other emulator. Okay, all right. So let's turn both of them back on, shall we? Okay, so here on the right we've got the modified app, and on the left we've got the other app that seems to want to keep putting itself to sleep. Huh. Okay, so running, at least I thought it was running. Question is, maybe am I looking at the right emulator? So just to make things difficult, I have, of course, 3 emulators running, and I, of course, showed you the wrong emulator. Okay, so here is emulator 1. So this is from Tanaka's point of view, and this one is from mine. Okay, so I'll go in here and chat. Oh, whoops, no, this looks like it's still me. Notice that the bubble's on the right, so. Okay, so this 26, did this not build? Oh, you know, it might have happened. Apologies, too many emulators, too many instances of Android Studio up. I will clean this up in just a moment here. So I'm gonna restart this guy. And hopefully it will clean itself up. Okay, if this doesn't work, I'll just move on. But I'm really hoping it does so I can show you the chat feature because I'm gonna be building on top of this, so it'd be great if it works. Here we go. Okay, all right, so perfect. All right, so here we can see on the left is Tanaka's account, and on the right is mine. Yeah. Now that's true. Okay, so here I just want to chat some more, and we can see it kind of shooting across. Okay, all right, so that's it. So yeah, chat features, one thing, I guess, details. So you can see here, maybe a little small. So part of the features in UIKit is, of course, like I said, you can send files, videos, images. You can it's also got profile images that it shows. It also has typing indicators, which in the UI we've got showing up here, right? Tanaka's typing. Oh, I didn't correct the image. And then once it's sent, if somebody reads it, there'll be a receipt indicator. So if I click on this, this should populate. Oh, I'm finding all new ways to kind of break my own typing indicator. Oh, I'll have to double check on the typing indicator. Usually that works flawlessly. But you can see here I can send an emoji back and so on and so forth. Okay, all right, moving on. Okay, so that's chat. And as you can see, that doesn't take very long to implement. So what I'm hoping to do is I'm going to walk through what it would take to add voice and video to this, which would require a third library of ours. Okay, so the third library that we have available is the calls SDK. And the calls SDK is very similar to the chat SDK in that it has all the API elements for you to be able to run voice and video inside an application. Like the chat SDK, it doesn't contain the UI elements to kind of visually show the voice and call sequence. So it doesn't have like the views to display the connection you would have with someone in a video call. But fortunately, we do have a quick start sample app in Android that includes the entire UI experience running off of the calls SDK. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to lightly talk about what you would need to do if you have an existing application and want to add in calls. Is like, again, any other library dependencies, initialize SDK, then we'll authenticate the user, and then we will set up a few event handlers. Event handler to handle when a call is received, and then add in functions for making outbound calls. So dependencies, again, similar to UIKit, we're just going to add in calls, SDK. Some permissions that you would have to add, of course, for video is cameras and microphone, and of course, network access. To initialize, it's very simple. You don't need to use an adapter. In calls case, here you would use the application context and then the app ID of your application that you're using. Authentication, here you can use an access token which can be added to users. We didn't demonstrate using access tokens, and generally you wouldn't need to use them. Okay, so here you just, whether the callback is telling you if the authentication succeeded or not. And then making calls, pretty straightforward. We have this Sendbird call API, and here it's just a dial command, right? And then that call object that gets returned, you can add additional listeners to it to handle, if a call was accepted, if it didn't, and if it ended. So you can trigger the UI elements to respond appropriately. And then same thing for receiving calls. You would add a listener to the top level object that would tell you if a call was coming in, if it ended, so on and so forth. Okay, so the code sample for our sample app that includes the entire UI experience is located in our GitHub account. It's just called Quick Start Calls Android, separated with dashes. And I will spin that up for you so that you can see what this looks like. There, I'll just put this back to the emulator. Switch over to calls. And actually, I think this emulator, I've already put this on here. Okay. Okay, so this is how the quick start actually starts up. So you can sign in with a QR code or sign in with that ID. So here I'll just use the ID since I've been doing this with all the other sample apps. So here I'm going to paste this in because it's a very long alphanumeric. Oh. Paste. Okay, and I'll sign in as myself. Okay. Yes. And actually what I should have done is I should have signed in as Teneco. And the reason is because I have this quick start on my phone, but if I'm signed in for myself, actually, we could try this. Well, maybe I should push it. I was going to say I should call myself and see if that works. I'm tempted to try this. So let's see if this works, if this will actually call my phone. No, of course. Naturally. Okay. All right. So let me spin up another emulator. Sorry, I just had to try that. This one, I believe this emulator also has this quick start app. Yep. Okay. So what I'll do is I will sign in here. Oh my. This emulator is not having a good day. Try this again. Okay, shame. All right. In that case, I will put it onto this third emulator and try loop. Quick start. Yep. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to turn this emulator off. Probably it's had its last day here. Okay. Oh, I've got these emulators reversed. Okay. Let me just turn all these on. Okay, so here, this one wants me again, which is such a shame. Okay, so one thing about this quick start sample app is it saves the application ID into preferences. So normally this would be highly convenient, but for demo purposes, since I want to change the user, I need to delete the app and restart it. if I had thought ahead, I would have just disabled the preferences so that I could do this repeatedly without giving myself lots of grief, but I didn't. So I'm going to rebuild the project again. And then I will paste the application ID and attempt to sign in as Tanika and hopefully show you this thing working. I'm going to paste and sign in. Yes, yes. So those are the permissions. If we don't say yes, of course, we're not going to get anything working. All right, so let's call myself, and hopefully my phone doesn't give me any issues. Going to accept on my phone. And once it's done connecting, I should see video from my phone. But instead, I see from OBS. Ah, here it goes. Okay, so it takes a second to start. Okay, so the video that's coming into the emulator that you're looking at in the middle emulator is the video coming from my phone. And I can show you my computer. So clearly a little bit of delay as it goes through the emulator. But on my phone, it looks like a pretty flawless experience. Okay, so I'm going to close this out. Don't want to risk killing another emulator. Okay, so that's the Quick Start app that we have available that you can run voice and calls with. Okay, so so originally, I think I might have mentioned, originally I wanted to quickly show how you could add video and voice to the chat app that we started with. But when I tried this out earlier, I found out that it takes quite a bit of time to add in all the UI elements that makes this sort of possible. Oh, yeah, so yeah, I did say. So yeah, so we have the Quick Start guide, and instead I wanted to add chat to the to this Quick Start guide, which should be a little bit faster. Now, unfortunately, we probably, let's see, we got about maybe 7 minutes. All right, let's see how this goes. Okay, so let me bring up the code again. And so this is on Android Studio 4, the starting application. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to switch Android Studio and show the Quick Start app. Okay. All right, so this should be all the default Quick Start code. And what I'm going to do, now you can see my emulators are having not a great time. So I'm going to shut these down. Spin them back up later. Okay, so for adding chat to this start application, what we will need to do is we're going to basically add the dependencies that we mentioned before. So same thing here. I am going to add in the Maven link here. And the data binding, which is needed for, again, UIKit. I'll add UIKit here. And while we're here, I'm going to add in the chat SDK because I want to use the chat SDK to leverage a call for me. Now the question is, actually, do I need the chat SDK? I might be able to be okay without it. Okay, let's see. Parts of the chat SDK are included in the UIKit, so I might not need it. Okay, so we added that. Okay, so, all right, this is the fun part where I'm going to add in some of the graphic elements right here, right? So if you recall from the emulator, which I turned off, so there was a video and a call icon, but there was no like chat icon. So we need a chat icon to be able to trigger the chat service. So normally I would add in the graphics here and then create the XML layout for adding the chat next to it. But I think what I'll do is I'm just going to, I'm going to hijack one of the other buttons. So instead of kicking off the video call that we saw earlier, what we will do instead in the dial fragment. So here in the video call, I think you guys can see this. Yeah. So let me turn this guy off. Okay. So in the video call, this sets off the call service, right? So what we're going to do instead is we're going to hijack this and we're going to kick off the chat system instead. Okay, so the calls for initiating chat is similar to before. What's the best way to do this? Okay, so let's see. Let's let's display that activity. And what I'm going to do is oh, right, I am. So I just put this outside so that I can call this function from the fragment later on. Oh, okay, I might need the chat SDK. Okay, so I'll come back to that. Here, okay, what's the best way to call this? Call the fragment. All right, sorry, I'm trying to quickly like truncate what I was originally going to do to make it a little bit faster. Let's do this. Okay, let's take this chunk. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get the channel URL. So we're going to make a call to our chat SDK to get so the UIKit from earlier when I showed you, right? It showed the channel list, and then you got to choose which channel, and then you went into a chat channel. So in this case, when we already know who we're talking to, instead of displaying that whole UI element again, I want to kind of jump past the channel list and go straight to the channel page and get right to chatting with that individual. So what I've done is I've kind of broken this up into a couple functions here, and I have. Let's see, I'm going to put this out here. So I have a function called get channel URL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the chat SDK and basically look through the available conversations that I have as an existing user, and then find the one that matches with this person, and then display that if it exists. If it doesn't, then so here, get existing channel. If it doesn't exist, then I want to create a new channel and then present that back to the UI. Okay, so chat. All right, so I definitely need to put the chat SDK in, and why I don't remember off the top of my head. UIKit. And okay, here it is. Oh, yeah, that's why I don't remember. Okay, so Sendbird SDK, Sendbird-Android-SDK, and then we'll use version 3. Okay, so once that's in, let me sync that, and now code complete should fix itself to a degree. Let's see, display chat structure. Okay, so this display chat, we're in a fragment, right? So I actually want to tell the main activity that presented the fragment to go to, or to display the correct channel. Okay. Oh, did not see this yet. Okay, good. Okay, fragment. Display channel URL. Click listener. Oh. Dial fragment. Get channel URL. Okay. I think I'm putting stuff in the wrong place. This should be in the. I'll come back to this. Should be in the. Okay, let me just get this code here all set up first. Oh, right. So I had, I don't know why I did it this way. So I had created an interface for a callback because I seem to want to use the most painful callback method possible. And let's see, I think I just had a void all complete. Yep. Okay. Let's leave the logs on. Oh. Okay. I'm not seeing the UIKit. Did I Sendbird UIKit? Support everything, so I don't have to worry about this. Existing channel. All right. Yeah. So I put broke all this up to try and make it easier if you wanted to take bits of this code and put it elsewhere. Of course, that gave myself lots of extra stuff to put down. Okay, list arrays. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm gonna skip ahead through. So here I'm just gonna be adding in all the dependencies and then kicking off the start. So I think I have an example of this completed, which I'll put into one of these emulators. Let's see, I think 30 the best results. Okay, so let me show this to you guys. Bring up this emulator again. Actually, let me bring up all the emulators because I'll have to show you the chat working. Okay, 26. Let's see if you work again. Okay, so here on the left, oh good, this is working. Okay, so on the left, it's signed on as Tanaka, and this is the original chat app that we had started with. On the right is the modified app, and oh, why is this chat thing not working? Did I must have done my old code. So what I was hoping was to have this chat button enabled so that I could show you chatting from this modified quick start app to the original modified chat app that we had. But I have accidentally disabled this button for some reason. Let's see. I can show you my floundering in code here. Is this, nope, the wrong one. Okay. Well, anyways, okay. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but yeah, if you go into the repos and you download the third folder, which has this code complete, this chat button activates, and it will actually talk to the chat app that you run from folder 2. So okay, so that's kind of a quick end to my demo, but it'll take me probably another few minutes to get that fixed and running. So okay, so with the few minutes that we have remaining, why don't we go to Q&A here? Let me bring back Zoom so I can see what the questions are. Okay, all right. So how do we persist chat for social media app concept? My understanding of this question, and you can do a follow-up or hop on to if I'm misinterpreting this, but I'm presuming that you're asking how does the chat history stay in record? So like if you're using UIKit, it will actually continue to show the history of the app. So as you saw in the first emulator that I had, it still retained chat history from its previous runs. And if you go into the dashboard, you can actually see records of the main chat activities. So the chat history is in the system. It's in the backend, so you can pull it out from using the platform API or from an app. So it's kind of always there, and it's available for calling through the API. If you decide not to use UIKit, you can pull it from the chat SDK. Okay, let's see. Next question, unless there's a follow-up on that one. Hi all. If Jason doesn't have time, okay. So this is my coworker Jessica. She's saying if I don't have time to answer your questions all here, which I'm probably running out of, you can join our virtual meetup at 2:30 p.m. today, which will discuss more on video and calls and chats and adding that to your application. Okay, so I'm going to skip to the next question. Can we use Sendbird for Flutter? Yes, you can. There's not a out-of-the-box Flutter SDK or integration, but I have added a very simple Flutter plugin that lets you get started with chat. And if you take a look at it, you'll see it's fairly straightforward, and you'll be able to add on top of it if you need to. Flutter is being worked on, so there'll be a more official integration available soon. But with that plugin that I put up into pub.dev, you'll be able to at least get started. Next question: how reliable is Sendbird video in 2G, 3G networks? Oh, that's that's a really good question. I haven't stress tested myself, and I have yet to ask some of my veteran coworkers what that looks like. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you right now. But if you want to jump into the next session, then in between sessions, I'll get an answer for that. Next question: how to link Sendbird with Firebase user ID? Oh, okay. So that sample app that I was talking about before, the Quick Start Calls Android app, that one actually uses Firebase, I believe. So if you want to see an example of how that integration would look like, I would recommend going to that repo and looking at the code in there. And then last question: so many emulators. What is the config of your system? Okay, so right now I'm running off of I think a 2014, 2016 iMac. And just, I don't know why I seem to be a glutton for punishment. I like to have a lot of emulators open so I can jump between things, because sometimes I feel like building is not fast enough. Although with this iMac, building is actually not a problem. So I probably should have just stuck to 1 or 2 emulators, or just hooked up an actual device and mirrored that here. I'll probably do that in the future, but yeah. So yeah, I'm running off of an older iMac, but it runs everything well. I think it's the emulators plus Zoom plus OBS is probably a little bit of a challenge, but I think it's still running pretty well. Okay, I think that's all the questions. So yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, if you like, come to our next session. Otherwise, just ask us some questions inside the conference app. We are hiring. We're hiring for more developer advocates and everyone across the board. So definitely check out our careers page. All right. Thank you, everyone.